Hello, Russell. Thanks again for being on these great calls with myself, and I just love you having as a host.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. I as for those listening, this is the Veterans Act, and our main focus is really having conversations that impact people, in particular veterans, military people, active service, uh, uh, to act, especially when they come out into the civilian world. Veterans Act stands for Advanced Career Training, and really the bottom line is action. We take on different topics. Um, I've been a civilian my entire life. There's plenty of civilians out here with the um, missions, I should say. Uh, but the military has a particular mission, and that's what Russell and other veterans, but in particular Russell as a co-host, brings with 44 years of experience in the Army. He brings a perspective that uh, only people in the military could understand, and together we're trying to bridge these conversations to help people act in the world. Russell, anything you want to add before we start our topic today?
No, 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 not really. Like again, it's always a pleasure to be a part of this podcast, and always a pleasure to talk with you, Lou. Because I mean, we run the gamut of topics, and I'm sure this one's going to be just as interesting as the other ones that we go forward. So yeah, but most people don't really understand how anybody can do 44 years in the military. But I accomplished that from 1977 to 2021.
Uh, well, this today's topic, it came to me from reviewing some of the other conversations we've had, and you said something a few conversations ago that really it stuck. It stuck great. I think it was definitely transferable to me in the civilian world when you said it. It it created a really open, vast opportunity of conversations that could make a difference when you said it. And that is when you were distinguishing the mission of the military, like the military, the U.S. military, militaries around the world, but the United States military in particular, there's a mission, and you have a mission, and the different uh, bodies of the military might have unique visions and possibilities and actions that they need to take, but there's a mission that the military has. Now, as a civilian, to me, uh, one of the missions is to really maintain, protect, defend, be a deterrent, act uh, uh, in defending the United States of America, like defending the United States of America, defending or being part of NATO, let's say, also defending other democracies around the world, and really to be a deterrent and establish the freedoms that we have in this country as civilians, which I will assert a lot of people take for granted and probably have no idea of the structures in place and what it's taken to live the life that we're living in our time here on the planet. Uh, and when you said that, you didn't say it exactly like that, but you said the mission of the military. It occurred to me, it kind of hit me yet. And here in the civilian world, we have all these missions that are all over the place thanks to the mission of the military. So company A, right? Company A has a mission. Company B has a mission. This state has a mission. That city has a mission. This family has a mission. This football team has a mission. This jiu-jitsu guy has a mission. I have a mission. This couple has. Everybody's got missions all over the place,
Right.
and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of being alive today, for sure in the United States of America and other parts of the world too, where we really can create any possibility we want with our lives. We really can create any possibilities, which brings me to the foundation of being trainable and the Veterans Act, and that is with the education and distinctions available today, uh, anything is possible. Like there's really no reason to live a disempowered life unless you're not being trainable. But where do we stop being trainable? When do we start being trainable? That's a whole other conversation. But today I want to address anger. I want to address anger and hate, and particularly I want to address that because though we've all noticed anger and hate throughout our lives and different people, and I mean, the abundance of the conversation could be all over the place. But I want to try to pinpoint it, and really get an undercurrent where we could have a conversation that could help whoever's listening distinguish anger and hate and transcend it. So I'm going to start with this particular incident that really just got my attention. And that is that I've noticed enough at this point to say that there seems to be a lot of people, or enough people, and one is enough, okay? One is enough, who leave the military and they're angry and upset. And then I've noticed some of these people will get into, let's say, political positions, governance, which is important to me anyway. Governance is important to me. It should be important to everybody. Like I am and do care who's representing and creating laws, and I
Right,
care.
right.
I just care. Some people don't care. I care. Uh, uh, but when you're in government or entering government, uh, and you're from the military, which makes you unique in a certain way, and you're operating from anger and hate, that's not good. That's not good at all. And I've heard enough people say this now, where they say it. Well, being angry is good. Being anger is good. That's how I act. You need to be angry to take action. People don't take action. They're complacent if they're not angry. And I'm going to say that that is completely off, in the sense that that is the lowest level of operating in life. Operating from anger and hate takes no skills. It takes so little skills to take action from anger and hate. It's almost like you have maybe a person hasn't heard this, but when you're operating from anger and hate, which is an emotional state, which is an emotional experience that we all go through, but you're operating at the level of a child, an infant, a toddler. Like if you haven't transcended hate or educated yourself to act beyond hate, by the time you're, let's say, into high school, teenager, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. And we got millions of people operating on this planet, for sure in America, from hate and anger.
Yeah,
That's not good. We have to. Well, I shouldn't say we have to. By the way, you don't have to do anything. You could say angry and hateful your entire existence. Power to you, but you're right to swing your fist, or push violence, physical violence, legislative violence, ends with you. You have no right to get violent with other people.
right.
You just don't. And way too many people are using violence as a form of their communication to get what they want, because they don't like what, let's say, the majority wants. And the majority is not necessarily out there screaming and yelling and being angry and upset and tearing shit down. And this applies to everybody. I don't care who, what, where you are. Anger and hate that create physical violence is the lowest level of existence. So, with that said, I like to tackle that conversation with you. Why are people coming out angry and hateful? I have some thoughts and distinctions, of course, as you do, and I'm sure you've seen it. I mean, you know. I'm sure you even know. I know I don't. I know people who are incredibly skilled with weapons, and the undertone is anger and hate. That's a little dangerous,
Yeah,
potentially. That's for sure. So that's what I like to tackle with you today in some way and distinguish something here. Anger and hate. How do we transcend that? I'll start by saying it's the lowest level. If you're an angry and hateful person, or anytime you're experiencing anger or hate, you're operating at an infantile level, a child, literally a child.
yeah. So, usually when anybody is angry, something hasn't been solved, something hasn't been addressed. Um, and usually when you get down to it, it's something that somebody didn't get. They wanted something and they didn't get it. So they're disappointed. Um, and they have no control over it when they thought they should have had control over it. They should have some say when they didn't have some say over it. Or you know, there was an expectation that wasn't met, period. And if that expectation wasn't met, if you expect something, if you expect to get paid $5 or $10 and somebody gives you $1, you're going to be quite upset. You
Yeah,
know,
I totally
why
right.
why did you give me $1? Well, because I thought that's how much your effort was. Yeah, but I put in a lot of this and I put in a lot of that and I spent a lot of that and I spent a lot of this, and therefore I think I should be paid $5. Yeah, but that's not what I see. And so what I see and what you see are two different things. And because I'm the one that's paying you, I never gave you an expectation. And because I never helped you manage that expectation, no matter what I do or say, you're going to be angry about it because we didn't start off on the same sheet of music. We didn't start off with the same expectation. And so usually when people leave the military and they're angry, there's an expectation that either hasn't been met or there's an expectation that they're looking for when they get ready to transition and they don't know how to get to it.
Hmm.
So, people who are angry and they're in uniform, something has happened either between supervisor or something else, or something has happened. The promotion system isn't working for them. They're being disciplined for something that they did, but they don't agree that they need to be dealt with that way. They need to be either one, two, three. This is their fifth chance, and they still think that they need to need to have just a good talking to, um, and some people when they enter the military, they already enter angry or they already enter with an expectation that hasn't been met before they get into the military, and they carry that into the military and they leave with it in the military. You know, you can have an expectation when you were out in the military that certain people of a certain color or of a certain religion or a certain social status should not be where you are and shouldn't do certain things. You may have an issue with women, period. And yet, when you get into the military, you're going to have women over you. You're going to have women you're going to be working with. And if you can't do that, you're already angry because your expectation of what you think the military should be isn't there. You think the military should be all male. It never was all male. If you look back in the
That's
history
great.
books,
That's great. Say that. Say more about that. The military has never been only
no,
male.
it never has.
Never.
You may have had men fighting on the front line, but the military has always had women part of it, whether they were making beds, dressing wounds, or feeding you in the soup line. They've always been a part of the military. They may not have been recognized, but they've
That's fantastic.
always have been part of the military in one shape, form, or fashion. They've they've
That that
they've
that
helped
this just.
and been a
Yeah,
part of
sorry to
it.
cut you off. Yeah, sorry to cut you off because
Yeah.
that I just want to benchmark that for anybody that's out there hating women in the military, not liking women in the military, not thinking that women should be in the military. I could understand the debate of where, what position, what they should be doing physically in the military. I could understand that, but that doesn't give you the right to prevent that, especially if a woman wants to do that. If a person volunteers, especially in the United States, to volunteer army,
Right.
right, which is a whole other topic. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, it's a whole other topic. Uh, um, but their choice, it's, it's yeah, it's their